Hey everyone, I'm Kara, also known as the Chatterbox. If you like and subscribe, maybe, just maybe, I'll zip my mouth for a second. But that's kind of impossible since I started talking as a teeny weeny baby. Mummy, Daddy, I've been laying here thinking, and you know what I think? I think you should change the color of this room. Pink? Who does pink these days? That's gender color bias. I've always been a talker. I spoke in complete sentences when I was just 6 months old, and from that moment on, nobody could find my off switch. I loved learning about things and sharing them with anyone who would listen. Unfortunately, being an only child meant I didn't have many people to share with. My parents were always busy. I remember trying to explain something fascinating to our cook. Whale sharks are not really whales. Look, these are the gills. Did you know that whales have lungs instead of gills? It's not even a real shark, since it only eats plankton, so it's called a whale shark, but it's really your dinner carrot. But Mum, you didn't even look. What do you think, Dad? Dad, you like to fish, right? My parents seem to love their phones and laptops more than me, so I ended up talking to all my dolls. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I will be performing the epic poem, The Iliad. Please hold your applause until the very end. Since my parents never gave me much attention, I really made the most of it at school. I was the smartest person in my class. Okay, children, who knows the answer to this question? Oh, me. I know. Anyone else other than Kara? Please, I'm begging you. Anyone, Kara, once again, I'd jump at the chance. I just read about this, and the answer is actually quite long and complicated. If we're going to be talking about how big the Earth is, we have to talk about atoms. And if we're going to be talking about atoms, we have to talk about ... I was so excited to share everything I learned, I just couldn't stop. I spoke so much that the teachers had to call my parents. They rushed me to the doctor, and that's when I was diagnosed with a compulsive talking disorder. The doctor tried to help. That's it. Concentrate on the breathing. Slowly. Breathe. Don't talk. Just breathe deeply. He said deep breaths would help me control it, but as soon as I left, my body just adapted. Did you know that there are only 8 planets in our solar system and there are 100,000 million stars? Pluto used to be a planet, but it got delisted. Can you believe that? Planets can be delisted. Do you know who is responsible for poor Pluto? I can tell you. Hold on, say cheese. So the next day, my parents sent me to live with my grandfather. To say his farm was struggling was a huge understatement. He told me, I know we don't have much here, but anything I have is yours. Would you like to learn how to grow some crops? Maybe you'll have better luck than I've had. I was so excited. Oh yes, I'd love that. Granddad showed me everything. I started reading more about plants, learned how to operate all the heavy-duty equipment, and I even flew a crop duster a few times. In no time, our farm was filled with all sorts of gigantic vegetables and plants. I read in one of my granddad's books that talking to plants helps them grow because of the CO2 in our breath. So I held full conversations with every plant and insect I could find, and to my surprise, something amazing happened. Our farm quickly became a tourist attraction, and I became famous for having the most beautiful crops and flowers in the whole country. A reporter asked me, "Young lady, how were you able to turn this farm around so quickly?" I just smiled and said, "Oh, that's easy. You need good soil, water, and some awesome plant food." When she asked what kind, I just laughed and said, "Glad you asked. How much time you got?" Every supermarket and flower shop was knocking down our doors. And then one day, after so many years, guess who decided to show up? My parents. "Hey honey," my dad said, "your mum and I saw you on the news. We always knew you were a special kid. Are you ready to come home?" I just stood there, silent, on a soapbox. "Aren't you going to say anything?" my mum asked. "How dare you?" I finally said. "This is my home now. All you two care about is work. I'm tired of being treated like an annoyance." Granddad actually listened to me and encouraged me to use my voice. And look what happened. We've paid off all his debt. It had been 6 years. Can you believe it? While I was still giving them a piece of my mind, a fancy car pulled up. An older man stepped out, dressed in royal garments. He held up a newspaper with my picture. "Are you the young lady from this paper?" "Yes, that's me," I said, then turned to my parents. Pay no attention to these people. They were just leaving. The man was impressed. "This is some of the most impressive florist work I've ever seen. We could use your services at the palace. The king wanted us to live within the castle, and I couldn't wait to start my new job in our humongous new home. But I still had a lot to learn." One day, as I watered the flowers, I heard a girl's voice. "Go on, speak up, or you're going into that filthy water." "What's wrong? Cat got your tongue. You can't even get the words out without stuttering, can you? You bring nothing but shame to our family." I couldn't just stand by. I walked over and said, "Hey, leave him alone." Have you ever talked so much you accidentally insulted a prince? Well, I did. I told him the only shame he'd bring his family is if the king tried to put a crown on that giant head of his. I even called it the cranium conundrum. He threatened to call the royal guards, so I asked if his massive noggin could even fit through the chamber door. Next thing I know, I'm being thanked for saving him. Turns out he's Prince Alfonso, or Al, and he has a stutter. As a certified motormouth, I knew I could help. From that day on, Al and I were inseparable. I taught him how to speak publicly, and he taught me how to slow down and not drive everyone away with my constant chatter. We played games to improve his vocabulary and pronunciation, and we even lip-synced karaoke to help his stutter. He became one of the few people I actually wanted to be around. The day of his big parade speech arrived. He was nervous, worried he'd stutter again. I promised him he'd be fine, but just before he went on, I saw his sister Esmeralda messing with some wires. She was planning to play a recording of him stuttering to humiliate him. I couldn't let her sabotage my friend. So I did the only thing I knew how to do well. I talked. Using a disguised voice, I stepped in and delivered the speech for him right as he was supposed to start. The speech was a massive success. Alfonso became a national celebrity overnight. He couldn't thank me enough, and we both knew we made a great team. But then came the news. Because the speech went so well, his family was sending him on a year-long world tour. My heart sank, but I tried to be happy for him. He promised to send me a TikTok every hour, and then he revealed one more surprise. He told his father how much I helped him, and what his father did next changed my life forever. If anyone deserved to get into the best school in the country, it was you. Your brain is a national treasure. When I first met this dorky screw-up, I thought of him as my kid brother. But as we sat by the lake and I looked into his eyes, I realized I might be falling for him. And just like that, my best friend was gone. Now, I was at the mercy of a little tyrant with a gigantic head. Everyone was excited for my first day of school except me. I was going to the richest school in the country, but I wasn't rich. My clothes weren't exactly designer, and all I had going for me was my brain and my big mouth. But hey, it's just a school, I thought. Couldn't be that bad, right? Turns out, plenty can go bad when you're on the wrong side of a princess. The next 6 months were no picnic. With no friends, I spent my breaks surrounded by the only things that were nice to me. The flowers. That's weird. I don't remember anything about a solar eclipse. Heads up. Did you know polo balls used to be made of bamboo and leather? Now they're just plastic. Still, plastic can make quite an impact at over 100 miles an hour. Whoa. Did you just ask to kiss me? My horse had that pleasure, not me. Not exactly how I imagined surprising you with my return. Let's get you some ice. I could feel all the jealous girls' eyes burning holes into me as I rode off with the prince, and honestly, I couldn't have cared less. It was insane how handsome he had gotten in only a year. He told me, "I'm sorry I didn't let you know I was back. But my father has decided to step down from his throne." "That's great news," I said. "Just looking at you, I can tell you're ready to be king." "Not if my sister has anything to say about it," he replied. "She has the queen on her side. My mum will do anything to make Esmeralda the new queen. I gagged at the thought of her ruling my country. Well, how about we make sure that never happens? Deal?" From then on, I knew I had to do everything I could to stop Esmeralda from getting that throne. All the girls at school were so annoying, desperately trying to get the prince's attention. I knew most were Esmeralda's minions, out to create a scandal that would ruin Alfonso's chances. Not on my watch. Move. Royalty coming through. Step back 3 paces. You can look, but you can't touch. Like the sun, glance and look away. Eventually, Alfonso begged me to be his buffer. I felt like a bodyguard, keeping away the designer hyenas, until one day he said, "Cara, we need to talk." Wait, the future king just asked me to be his girlfriend. I was as shocked as everyone else. One minute I'm just a simple gardener, and the next I'm the talk of the entire country. The future king's new girlfriend. That's what all the papers would say. Honestly, I was totally freaking out. I was so stressed I couldn't sleep, so I went to my peaceful place, my garden. I just wanted to be with my flowers. But as I got closer, I nearly collapsed. All my beautiful flowers were destroyed. Just gone. I knew only one person could be this cruel. A note was left behind. "Let this serve as a warning. You will never date my son, and the throne will be Esmeralda's, the queen." I was devastated. The next day, since the garden was ruined, they assigned me to work directly under the queen. I knew it was going to be bad, but I was still trying to be hopeful. My chore list was a mile long, and then I was blamed for a fire in the garden, even though everyone knew who really did it. The queen was determined to make my life miserable. Luckily, my good old granddad had my back. He talked to the security guards and cleared my name. The king was furious with the queen, and I got my old job back. Sort of. My job description changed slightly, thanks to Her Majesty. I was still the castle's whipping girl, just inside instead of outside. This brought me to the most important night of the royal calendar. I found Alfonso hiding in a closet, panicking. "I can't give my speech. I'm going to screw it up, and Esmeralda will take the throne." Oh, don't even get me started on Esmeralda and the Queen. I have so much to say about them. And then it all just came pouring out. What started as a pep talk for Alfonso turned into a full-on roast of my tuna. I can't even remember everything I said, but my frustration just flowed out. He started laughing. "You're funny, and when you get on a roll, nothing can stop you. Glad I could help, Your Majesty. You can do this. I believe in you." He smiled. "Thank you. You're right. I can." As I opened the closet door, my heart stopped. Oh no. The microphone was on. I had just committed treason in front of everyone. This was exactly the kind of screw-up the Queen and Esmeralda were waiting for. The royal guards stormed in, faces grim. "The minions were looking for you," one grumbled. "You've made a mockery of our country. You and your grandfather will be dealt with." But before they could drag me away, the king entered. He looked at me, a smile playing on his lips. "I don't know," he said. "I thought it was kind of funny. Rather humorous, actually, but something that's been missing for many years now." The head guard sputtered, "I beg your pardon." The king just chuckled. "You remember laughing, don't you?" Some of her jokes were rather dead on. He turned to the queen. "Do you think it's funny to say our lovely daughter has a head so large she can receive transmissions from the space station?" The king burst out laughing. The queen was not amused. "And what other jokes tickled you, Your Majesty?" she asked, her voice dripping with ice. The king looked at me. What was that one about the Queen's shopping habits? I cleared my throat. I was just observing that it's way cheaper to go shopping than to go to a therapist. But her style is so bad, all her handmaids are in therapy anyway. It's a psychedelic shopaholic extravaganza. The king roared with laughter. You are very funny, young lady. It's decided. You're my new court jester. They released my grandpa, gave me a new room, a new job, and a ridiculously wonderful costume. For the first time, I felt like the royalty I'd pretended to be as a child. But the Queen was furious. She went to her lawyers, claiming the king was crazy and was determined to make her daughter Esmeralda the next ruler. When the day came to decide who would lead the country, Prince Alfonso was a nervous wreck. Don't worry, I told him, I've got your back. In court, I stood up. Your Honor, ILLB presenting the case why buck-toothed Esmeralda over there has no right to Prince Alfonso's throne. Exhibit 1. Just look at that face. The room erupted. Do you have any other evidence? The judge asked, trying to hide a smile. Glad you asked, I said. By the time I finished, the whole country was laughing. I'd gone viral. Within a day, the Queen and Esmeralda were gone, made famous in a way they never wanted. King Alfonso became a great ruler, and as for me, I turned my wit into my greatest asset, and now, as your queen, you better believe I've still got a few things to say. Thanks for watching.